Hey everybody, it's Dave from Clean Pro Supply. We're going to do a video walkthrough of the Mytee Water Hog. This is a standalone pump. There is no vacuum extractor built into this. It's just the water pressure coming out of the unit, but it does have autofill. So I'll go through a couple of the different features. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the bottom of this video, and I'm happy to either message you directly or respond directly to your question on your comment. So the Mytee Water Hog, this is going to have a water outlet right here. This is pretty much the core of the machine. You're going to connect your solution line that goes to your wand. So whatever you're trying to do here, this is your water outlet. And then to control your pressure, here's your pressure gauge. This is your pressure regulator here. It's going to turn counterclockwise to lower your pressure, and then it's going to turn clockwise like this to increase your pressure. You can set this however you like. There is a demand bypass internally though, so if you set your pressure and you pull your trigger and you notice it's going to change, you're going to expect either for it to go back to zero or have a little bit of a pressure drop depending on the flow of the jets that are on the tool you're using. So no issue there, but get it set where you want. If you have to set it maybe a smidge higher just to anticipate a little bit of pressure drop for the tool you're using, that's fine. This is where we have our power. This is a single cord 120 volt unit. It's got the 3-prong, 120 or 110, and I would recommend connecting this to a 20 amp circuit because I believe this draws about 16 amps. And then here's your switch to turn that on or turn that off. There's no other electrical components in this unit, so it's just the one switch and the one cord. Here we have our autofill. So in order to keep this blue tank, which is your freshwater tank, full, you're going to connect a garden hose to this. Now, of course, you could also just use a bucket to pour into your top here and fill it, but it's not a very big tank. It's only a couple gallons, so I would highly recommend, unless it's a small job, to connect your autofill, and this will keep your water tank full, which then feeds the pump, which then pushes out the front here to whatever tool you're using. One other option that you could do is there's a fill tube here. You could pull this out, connect this up to an actual faucet. There's a little rubber piece here that'll fit snug on your faucet, turn your water on, and that'll fill your tank. And then you can leave that connected if you're next to a tank. Just don't overfill your machine, of course. I would recommend just using it as a one-time thing, alternative to a bucket fill. This will come all the way out, so just be aware of that. Don't lose it. If you're using your autofill, you can also use your chemical injection. So this black knob will adjust the rate that your chemical is being injected, and that's going to go from this hose into this tank. So if you're doing carpet cleaning and you want to use an acid rinse, acid neutralizing rinse, or maybe you want to use an emulsifying detergent rinse instead, then you can put that concentrated mixture in this tank here, and then this will come out, and then you just take this lid off, and then this will go around the back side of the hose actually like this, and then go in your tank. What that'll do is it'll draw the chemical, the concentrated chemical here, into your meter here through your autofill, so that way by the time all the water hits the inside of your tank, it's already pre-diluted at whatever setting you calibrate it for. You can also take off this cap here if you like, and then this hole will come off as well. But because of the way you have to tip it sideways, I recommend putting it on there first and then fill it with whatever chemical you need. Each of these 4 wheels are all independent caster wheels that rotate, so it's very easy to maneuver, and they also do lock as well. You can push that down to lock the wheel so it's not rolling around on the job site. So your components are in the bottom, and like I said earlier, it's primarily just the water pump, so you can lift this up. And you can see here it's just a few hoses going to the tank. We have our autofill, which is actually in the tank. We have our pressure pump, we have a bypass line, actually 2 bypass lines, and then the pump is in the bottom. Inside we have our Marathon motor with a Pump Tech pump. This is a 1200 PSI pump that's going to be on the inside of the machine. And of course you have all your plumbing, so if you have any maintenance that you need to do on the machine, or if you have to replace any hoses, it's very simple to get to everything, just a couple hose clamps or fittings. If you ever have an issue where this shuts off for whatever reason, and you can't figure out why it won't turn back on, meaning your circuit breaker hasn't popped, where's my switch? Yeah, on right here. You turn your switch on and off, it does nothing. You connect this to a different circuit, it does nothing. There is a red switch on the back side of the pump here, so if really hot water from whatever water source you're using, that could overheat the motor because it's getting the heat is transferring from the pump, so that could reset. Or if you're just using it all day and it just happens to overheat for whatever reason, then it may trip that, and it's really just a safety feature so you don't burn out the motor in your pump. And there's really not a whole lot to the build out of the machine, so that's really about it. And of course it's handy to have 2 handles here and here, so you can easily lift it like this. Inside the freshwater tank, there's the hose, to fill it. Then there's the chemical injection hose, but on the inside here, there's also a little float, and this is the autofill float. So what'll happen is as the water is fed in through the autofill, once it gets to a certain level, this float will rise up and it'll shut a valve for your autofill so that it does not continue to fill. And then as it uses the water, this float will go back down and then it'll open that valve back up, and then more water will come into the machine. If you have any questions, obviously reach out anytime. I'm happy to help. Take care.